you for cutting your day short just a little bit. I'm sure that was a big pain for many of you, but we wanted to get everybody together because it's not often that things like this happen. And it's important that we honor the gentlemen and coaches that are before you for some accomplishments that they've had this past year. We want to recognize our Wildcat Boys bowling team, its coaches and individuals for their accomplishments all season, but in particular for what concluded this past weekend with a second straight IHSA Boys Bowling State Championship. It's important to remember that in the state of Illinois, bowling is handled differently than a lot of other sports. Our boys and girls bowling teams are thrown in with every school in the state. It doesn't matter how big or how small they are. So this is an unbelievable accomplishment to do it once, let alone 2 times in a row. The first thing we want to do is get these guys standing up, and we want to recognize them real quick before we let the coaches and one of our bowlers make a short statement to his student body. First off, freshman Evan Gelsinger. Sophomore Jared Rushing. Our first junior on the squad that competed this last weekend and throughout the postseason for our bowlers had the high game in the state tournament for our team and was really clutch in the last game, Keaton Gullion. Our next junior bowler rolled a 299 in the state sectional 2 weekends ago, Ryan Dietering. Our next junior, going into the final game and the final frame this past Saturday, came through with 2 huge strikes to start the 10th frame out for our Cats, Rhett Dietering. Our next junior, one of the anchors of our team, rolled not 1, not 2, but 3 separate 300 games this season, Silas Motes. And our lone senior providing the leadership for this squad finished 10th overall in the entire state this past weekend individually in leading his team to a state championship, Dominic Winkler. We'd also like to recognize our coaches. First of all, former Lady Wildcat bowler and assistant coach, Malia Hamilton. And our head coach, who has now brought us to 2 straight state championships. And I also want to recognize Coach Ludwig because we just found out a short time ago he was voted by the NFHS as the Illinois State Bowling Coach of the Year for the entire state this past season. Our fearless leader of our boys and girls bowling teams, Coach Steve Ludwig.
We on here? Here we go. That is hard to follow, right? My goodness, what a speaker. I do want to take the opportunity right now to thank the student body, the administration, Mr. Dr. Dietering, and everyone else involved. You guys supported this bowling team from the start, and it's been an honor representing the school. And when Salem shows up at a bowling tournament, they're aware that they're in for a dogfight, and we really appreciate your guys' support. So thank you very much for your support of these boys. You know, it's been an interesting season. We were ranked #1 the whole season, and that's the first time ever. First of all, there's only been a boys ranking system and a girls ranking system for a few years, but this last year we were ranked #1 all year. And it's hard to play from the front. It's hard to, when everyone expects you to play well, it's kind of hard to play from the front. Each week these boys went out and bowled a tournament, and they won every one they played, with the exception of 2. And then the regionals they got second, and the sectionals they got second. Our goal was to advance. Our goal is to give them the opportunity to represent this school at the state tournament, and they had that opportunity to do that, and obviously they did a great job. But a couple other things we wanted to talk about as far as accomplishments. We can't do anything without our assistant coach, Aaliyah. Give her a hand really quick. What it takes to have someone behind the program, sends out all the texts, makes sure everything's taken care of, washes the suits every week, takes care of everything so that we can focus on the things that we do good, which is try to coach our teams. And then Malia's there also doing that too, so great job, Will. I had to work with it first, because if I forgot you, I'd be in trouble. All right. So let's talk a little bit really quick about the state finals. We were in third place after the first day. We were a little disappointed in that result because we felt like we left a lot of pins out there. We were 160 pins out of the lead, and it looked like it might slip away. And we challenged the boys a little bit. We put on our white jerseys. Our white jerseys have never lost. They have now 3 state championships in those white jerseys. They're 20 years old. Thank you, Amy. You made them look presentable. I appreciate it. But the magic in those jerseys means a lot to these boys, and we had to have a discussion if they were ready to wear those jerseys. And when they finally convinced me that they were ready, we put those jerseys on and we never looked back. We took the lead after 4 games. We made up the 160 pins and literally held on to the state championship, winning by 51 pins. So with 1 game to go after 12 games, we're up 30 pins, which is like next to nothing. And it came all the way down until Dominic threw the first ball in the 10 for us that we knew we had it won. I mentioned to Malia. Malia was over there shaking. I said, we got this. And that we did. So a couple things that happened there that last day. I mentioned it on Facebook, and if you had that opportunity, take a look at it. We asked for 3 things to happen that last day. If those 3 things happened, I thought this team would be the state champion. And one was that this team would combine for a 1-game team total of 1150. To shoot 1 game of 1150, if you don't know what that is, that's 230 a man. And if we did that, we felt we could close in on the lead. And we did that in game 3, we shot 1153. Literally 3 points more than the goal of the expectation. The other part of that was I wanted one of these boys to step up and get into the top 12. I didn't care who it was, they all had potential. And when all of a sudden you look up, Dominic Quinn put it in the 10. He carried us at the end. He acted like a senior. He provided the leadership we needed, and we're very proud of that. I just want to say one thing in closing. And I understand each one of these boys has a lot to say, I'm sure. I think it's all Dominic, which is lucky for you guys. There's only been one other team in the history of state bowling that's won back-to-back, and that was Tinley Park back in 2000. What was it? 2005, 2006, 20 years ago. There has never been a team to go back-to-back till next year. Honest. Does anyone want to say anything other than Dominic? Come on. Malia. All right, Malia's in. All right. Hey guys, thank you.
These boys deserve it, and they've worked really hard this year to get that state championship right there, that trophy that they deserve. They played amazing this weekend. Keaton stepped up to the plate, and then we had Silas, Rhett, and Ryan step up as well. And like Steve said, Dominic was in the top 10. That's what we needed. And I just want to mention their sportsmanship as well with the Harrisburg team, especially, that they, honored Harrisburg and gave them high fives at the end and shook their hands and everything. That's what true players are. They wore those white jerseys with everything that had in them. Thank you.
Last time I did nothing but this thing. It's all right. Yeah. Oh, I just need it. Oh, that's the thing hard.
Hey, do we need to stand or?
No, you guys can sit down.
All right. Be ready.
What, in your mind, defines an athlete? Is it raw physical prowess? Is it incredible technique or astute mental mastery? Or is it simply anyone who participates in a sport? I think I can say with relative certainty that it's not the last one. So what makes an athlete different from any other person playing a sport? I'll tell you what that distinction is. It's grit. Grit can mean many different things. Anything from how rough a surface is to how determined someone is to persevere in impossible odds. As a stand, I'm inclined to choose the latter, and I'll tell you why. The 2024 IHSA state finals are why. Day one approached. We had been, for a lack of a better term, screwed out of our practice session, and we had 15 minutes to line up at least 5 bowlers. Not an easy task, no, far from it. But we tried our best, and we gardened into the morning, 3 games down. We needed grit to make it through the first block. The second half came around, and we were all out of it ever so slightly, but we were clinging on to anything we could to stay focused and motivated. However, the cards were not in our favor. Bowling is a funny way of making even the best bowlers, throwing the best shots with the best minds possible, struggle despite everything. For us 5, we were struggling, but we grinded through it all. We kept ourselves from the brink of failure, and we needed grit to do it. Day 2, we had a plan, much better than the first day. We just needed to make it to the morning, where we knew Harrisburg, the leaders of the tournament at the time, would be performing the best bowling of their season. We needed every pin we could grab, and we worked tirelessly to get every last pin. We cinched the deficit down to 40 pins, give or take, and we showed Harrisburg how Salem could really perform. We dug out of a hole because we had grit. The lanes were impossible. There was nothing but over-under for every foot of the lane. We needed to execute flawlessly or face maximum punishment at the hands of the split. The scoring pace was the lowest we had seen out of any tournament, and the carry was everything but there. The tournament came down to the wire, and we had worked too hard to give up. The 10th frame came around, and our leadoff, Brett Dietering, executed a game-changing double. The stakes were at an all-time high. Brian Dietering stepped up next, gave a great pitch, kicking out a nasty split, giving more wiggle room. Next up, our 3-spot, Keaton Goyan, despite the incredible shot, fell victim to the cruelty of bowling with 4-9 split. And with that, it was my turn to bowl my 10th frame. If I had to tell you what I was thinking, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything. In my mind was only the ball and my mark in the lane that I needed to hit once. I said briefly, 1 shot, and the ball went down the lane, and history was made. Silas Moats got to throw the victory lap. The pressure had been lifted from him, and the job had been done. We had worked tirelessly since the beginning of the season, with whispers and mentions of state being a potential situation we could find ourselves facing. We never could have imagined it would play out how it did this year. And it played out this way because we had grit. I want to thank everyone involved who helped us make history, with no brief mention to Steve Ludwig. We've certainly had some ups and downs, some even being extreme, but standing here today after it's all said and done, I couldn't possibly have asked for a better coach. We have certainly had some ups and downs. I need to thank the fantastic boys around me as well. It's not every day you become a part of a team and become so familiar with those amazing people that they become a family to you. There's nothing I can say properly to show how amazing you guys have been for me, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. I know that even if Evan and Jared didn't get to bowl the tournament, they now should have a much better understanding of the state environment when it's their time to shine. And of course, we couldn't do it without our Wildcats and crowd, who, even if some of them may still be sitting here now wishing the tall hippie in the microphone would shut his trap, still gave the bowling team the support they needed to thrive and make history once again. To be an athlete is to have endurance, willpower, and drive. To be a winner takes practice, consistency, and heart. To
To make history requires all of that and grit. And we had the grit to do it twice. It's been a great ride, and it's been an honor to be a member of such a historic and unforgettable team. I want to make one more brief mention to the parents who supported us every single time that we came out there. Every ball that we threw, we had a round of applause from them. And I mean, they're really the setup people. And of course, I have to give a shout out to Malia for being the organizer, essentially, and just always kind of being there and managing to lighten the mood, even whenever we're struggling heavily. Thank you, and have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Dominic. Very well said. I think just in closing, I want to say anytime I get a chance to watch these guys, they exemplify what we want from a family, and that starts with their coaches on down. They celebrate each other, they lift each other up through bad times, and they set a great example for the rest of our teams and organizations here at the high school. To put an exclamation point on this state championship, Dr. Dietering, Coach Bowles, Coach Wolf have allowed us to have an early dismissal. Have a great night. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.